Absolutely.
James, how about you?
Sure, I'll be here.
Okay, we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark with me, Gary.
One day while reading history, I paused to take a sigh about the land Afghanistan, where empires go to die. Alexander the Great, he tried and failed. The Mongols, they did too. The British and the Russians, they got their ass kicked too. America's been there many years, and I ask myself why we don't learn from history, where empires go to die. They say it's terrorism, that's political malarkey. Just follow where the money goes to a corporate oligarchy. The food crops they once grew with a plow and a hoe been turned into opium poppies, growing row on row. Our infrastructure's crumbling, our social structure too. It's a corporate scam, they don't give a damn while screwing over me and you.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
Hey, that is me, at least 99.9% of the time. Hey, Tom, I had to play that song because it kind of fit in with some of the stuff we've been talking about for the last hour and a half. But you know what? I got a funny...
That's one of the reasons I wrote it.
Well, you put it together so well, and it really fits. But I am so worried about our economy, what's going to happen about our country, let alone the world. It's so scary because, I have all these grandkids, and, I'm at the age where, by 2040, I'm not going to be here. So I'm not going to see the death of the planet, death of the ocean, and I'm not going to see, $20 a bottle of water. But it's scary. And I just wish, people would open their eyes up and realize we're in deep shit. I look at the grid system, maybe it all won't go down according to Joshua. But I got a funny feeling a lot of it could go down. And we're so close to having a solar storm because they go through cycles. And we're due for one. And what's going to happen if half the country or 3/4 of the country is without power for a year or two? You were in law enforcement. How long do you think, seriously, it would take before society starts breaking down? And
I'll tell you exactly what would happen. Let's just say hypothetically that you have either a false flag for whatever reason, or you have a rogue nation that decides to detonate a nuke 300 miles above the center of the continental United States. What's going to happen is that you're going to have over 90% of the grid knocked out. That means no running water, because you have to have electricity to run the pumps to make the water come out of the tap. There's not going to be any fuel, because without electricity, the fuel pumps don't work. You're going to have mass rioting. You're going to have the shelves in every major department store and grocery store stripped in less than 3 hours. And you're going to have utter chaos within 3 hours. And what's going to happen is you're going to have a total breakdown of society, and 90% of the population will be dead inside of a year.
Well,
I know I'm just full of pleasant stuff, right?
But you're saying the truth, because the last storm it hit was supposed to hit like Florida and North Carolina back here last month. One of my guests, RW, told me that he went down to the grocery store and everything was virtually, as soon as they announced the storm was going to come that direction, the stores were sold out of virtually everything. And it didn't take 3 hours. And you think about this, okay, if we get hit with something like that, the trucks aren't going to run. The cars aren't going to run unless you got an old car that doesn't have electronic ignition in it or a computerized system. That will probably undoubtedly still run, but nothing new in the last 30 years is going to run. And so food isn't going to be coming into the stores. Then if you're lucky enough to have a generator that still works at your house and you start it up, shortly after a day or two of shortages of food, all of a sudden you're inviting the wrong type of people. Oh, I hear that generator. Oh, hey, they got something. Oh, maybe we can get food or we can get guns and ammo or whatever. And they're going to come in and take it from you one way or the other. And people don't believe that can happen. And it can. But we rather spend the money for a wall and then try to build up and fix our grid system. I don't understand what is going on. It just doesn't make logical.
Do you remember the figures that have been thrown out about building that wall? And the reason I'm asking this is because it would cost $2 billion to totally shore up our electrical system and our grid system. That's a drop in the bucket. I mean, when you think about, we're spending $1.5 billion a week, $1.5 billion a week in the Middle East with our military, and there are people that are saying, hey, why don't you take $2 billion and shore up the grid? Okay, now let me think about this. You can spend $1.5 billion a week in places like Afghanistan, which for centuries, everybody that's tried, they've failed, and we're losing people, we're losing treasure, we're losing resources, where you could take some of that money and you could put it into the grid system and shore it up so that if we had an EMP or we had a nuke over the continental United States, we would still have a society. Gee, where are your priorities, boys and girls?
There isn't, but they do have a plan. If they know about a superstorm, solar superstorm coming, their plan is to shut the grid system down, in stages. That'll probably never happen because to restart it would probably be like good luck,
Gary, you know as well as I do that if a government bureaucracy is running it, they're going to screw it all up.
Oh, the last Joshua Warren was on my show a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of, only part of the country might lose its grid system. But you know what I said to him? I said, well, you know what? We don't make the transformers in our country anymore. They're made in India because they can still use all that toxic, chemicals, the oils that's toxic in it.
I have some more bad news for you. Not only are they made in India, the larger ones are made in China.
I know. Yeah, good luck with us.
We're in some deep doo-doo, my friend,
We are, and and the thing is, the power companies don't have enough. Look how many transformers there are on the telephone poles. We don't even have enough to replace them. And to order a replacement transformer, I was talking to our power company down here, Peninsula Power Company, about it here a while back, to the president of the association. He said when they order transformers, it takes a year to a year and a half to get them.
Yeah, it does. That's because they're not made in this country, number one, and they don't have an inventory of them.
No, they don't. They have this enough for normal, transformers that fail. They have a few. It's scary. So we got the money going for a fence, basically, that has already been proven people can scale and go over it. Do we really need the wall? I mean, actually, the numbers of people coming into this country illegally are down from what it was without the wall. I don't understand I think it's all a ploy to keep our mind off of what is actually happening out there and try to keep people focused. Oh, yeah, we're going to keep, this country has changed. And I'm not proud to be American like I used to be. Everybody in this country is not American. They're all nationalities mixed through all the years. And now we're denying people coming in this country. We're putting them in cages. We're, taking children from their mothers. People are dying in these, basically, what do you call it, dog cages.
Can I make a comment to you on the southern border as a former Border Patrol agent?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Number one, you can't build a wall across the entire southern border. It's a physical impossibility. You cannot do it. There are places down there that look like the Grand Canyon. You literally, what it would take to build a physical wall across them is, it would be an astronomical project. The best that you could do in places like that, you put in, like we used to, you remember Vietnam, we had those sensors that they put in the ground and they, that's about the best that you could do, Gary. There's places down there you literally cannot build a wall. In the places that they can, they have, but there are places where you can't. You cannot do it. It's a physical impossibility.
Well, then on top of it, aren't they good at making underground tunnels? I've seen pictures of some of these underground with air conditioning, lighting, where you could drive a truck through it. And who knows how long they were actually in use before they got caught. Remember in Vietnam how the VCA and NVA had they went all the way back to World War II. Those things went down like sometimes 6 and 7 stories, and we would go over and we'd carpet bomb them. You might take out the first 2 layers, but the rest of them are still there. That's the same thing true on the southern border. You've got tunnels, like you said, you can drive a truck through them, and they've been in use for years. And how often do they find them? Yeah, every now and then they do. But you cannot, it's a physical impossibility to find all of them. You can't do it. We don't have enough people down there. We don't have the resources down there. You cannot do it. And, okay, I'm done. Then you might put a wall up between the United States and Canada, too. You got to forget, if you're going to do it, you might try boxing us all in. That's what I'm saying. It's ludicrous, the money, and I'm fed up because I see the, Air Force and the Army and all this stuff being stripped of their funds to build the wall, and it's hogwash. I'm sorry. You can get mad at me all you want, people, that we need the money other places, okay? We want to cure cancer, don't we? We want to cure the common cold. We want to, how about people homeless, people dying in the VA? All this money and to wall? Come on.
Gary, when that's one of the reasons, and I think your listeners need to realize that is one of the reasons that we have the First Amendment, so that you and I and anyone that wants to express an opinion can do so. There are people that fought and died for that. You put time in the military. I put time in the military. A lot of your listeners did the same thing. And, that is one of the reasons that we have the Bill of Rights, and that is one of the reasons that we have the First Amendment, so that you can express those opinions. It doesn't matter to me if someone agrees with me or not. They have the right to express that opinion. And people have died in this country so that people could maintain those rights.
You very well put. Very well put. So what I'm getting down to, like I said earlier, there's something going on right now that all this is going on to try to cover up something and keep our minds off of everything that's going on.
It's a distraction.
It's
a distraction, and it's a distraction coast to coast, top to bottom, inside out, upside down, backwards and forwards, and every methodology that you can think of is at work to basically keep the American public distracted so that they're not thinking about some very, very dire realities that are surrounding them.
Well, one thing, too, changing a little bit the subject about it, but again, it's about disclosure. For months and months, some of my friends and ex-friends